Here, back for some more of the Great Ace Attorney. Last time we finished episode 3 by watching our client burned to death, so that was nice. Would have been better if we accepted his money beforehand. Anyway, let's continue on with episode 4. The Adventure of the Clouded Kokoro.
I begin to think, Wilson, said Sholmes, turning his head languidly in my direction, that there is more to this case than that which we have observed. Indeed, that there may be another part to this story that we are yet to discover. His eyes wandered, following the steam rising from his cup of herbal tea, leading him to the distant memory of that snowy evening. To the young lady collapsed on the pavement along Briar Road, and to the knife in her back. Lit in the soft glow of gas lamps, a most extraordinary scene had been set. And under the cover of a light fog, the curtain had risen silently on the insoluble mystery of our invisible killer.
February 9:47 a.m. British Supreme Court, Lord Chief Justice Office. Oh yeah, we're doing this for the Lord Chief Justice guy. Did you sleep last night, Mr. Naruto? No, not at all. It was an enormous hotel, wasn't it? The rooms were so luxurious, I felt like we were staying in the palace. And with all the gas lights twinkling, it was brighter than day, even in the middle of the night. What about the enormous beds? After my time on the SS Buria, I wasn't going to waste a single inch of that space. I spent the entire night rolling from one side of the mattress to the other. Oh yes, it really was the sort of night you could only dream of normally. Except, when I learned that we owed £3 for the rooms, that dream quickly turned into a nightmare. Oops, sorry about that. The building was so impressive and the entrance was so inviting, I just wandered in without thinking. In a lodging house in Japan, that sum of money would put a roof over your head for a whole year. I did try, but I'm afraid I couldn't help my tears when we were presented with the bill. Ugh, I really am sorry. Well, never mind. We must find some more affordable lodging straight away, though. If we're not careful, our entire stipend will be used up in 10 days or less. Ugh, London is a scary place. Oh, good morning to you at this early hour. Forgot how his voice goes. Probably should have looked it up. Oh, yes. Well. Good morning. Good morning to you, Lord Chief Justice. We have come to report on the outcome of the trial at the Old Bailey yesterday. Sasada-san is amazing. She didn't even bat an eyelid, even in the presence of the imposing Lord Strongheart. Yes, I believe you had a very comprehensive initiation into British courtroom practices. Oh yes, it was very eye-opening, thank you. And in accordance with your instructions, Lord Strongheart, Mr. Naruto performed his duty to the end. Yes, I've already been appraised of events. You conducted a remarkable defense. You may consider the test passed. Oh. No longer are you a student from the Empire of Japan. You may henceforth claim to be a fully fledged lawyer. My country is delighted to welcome young talent from such a remote eastern land. Thank you very much. So I'm a lawyer now. Now, in view of your new appointment, I have a fresh case in mind for you. I'd like you to take it on at once. I trust that won't be a problem. Another case? Already? Nothing trains a lawyer better than practical experience. I'm sure I don't sense dissatisfaction, do I? It's just that yesterday's trial ended unusually. I haven't quite come to terms with it. What's to come to terms with? The man was cleared. What more were you hoping for? Not to burn to death? Oh. Or find the truth, I guess. The culpability of the defendant has not, at the present time, been established by this court. Consequently, the jury will not be required to pass a judgment. Well, Lord Van Sykes, it's been a pleasure, so it has. And as for you, my dear fella, I couldn't have asked for a better defense. I think that's how I voiced him. Just can't help wondering if Mr. McGilded really was innocent. Mr. Naruto. It's just that I never managed to ascertain the truth. Then the trial ended. Well, you needn't let it trouble you for a second longer. Sorry? What do you mean, Lord Strongheart? Magnus McGilded passed away immediately following the trial. No! What? Mr. McGilded is dead? I have 19 minutes and 41 seconds until my next engagement. Time enough to talk. 19 minutes? I don't understand. What happened? How can he be dead? After the trial concluded yesterday, there was a great commotion in the Old Bailey. As you'll presumably recall, an omnibus had been wheeled into the courtroom. Yes, of course, that was the scene of the crime with which Mr. McGilded had been accused of. Precisely. Well, while the bailiff's attention was diverted by some other matter, the omnibus went up in flames. No. How could such a thing have happened? That is being investigated as we speak, but already. The police have identified a corpse found inside the charred shell of the carriage as that of McGilded. That's awful. The man must have slipped inside whilst the bailiff's attention was elsewhere. That bailiff really needs to pay more attention. And how could that have happened? That is also being investigated as we speak. Thinking back now, immediately after the trial, Mr. McGilded did mention going back to the courtroom to look after the omnibus. Well, must be making tracks now. 'Tis time for inspection. Sorry, what inspection? They're going to examine the omnibus again, so I'm told. I asked if I could be present for it myself. An inspection of the omnibus? Not to my knowledge. I don't believe Scotland Yard had any intention of re-examining the carriage. But then who was Mr. McGilded talking about? Never mind that now. The Yard is making a thorough investigation. This matter is no longer any concern of yours. Leave it to the police. Or Mr. McGilded. But he was rich. So, how did you find your first taste of our country's Supreme Court? Oh, well, I don't know. I mean, it was wow. What? Mr. Naruto means the whole experience was steeped in the solemnity of Great Britain's long history. It's really a world apart from our own judicial system in Japan, which is only a few short decades old. Wow, Sasato-san has such a way with words. And you seem to have a way of failing to find the right ones. What? That was a soliloquy. The judicial system here is the most advanced in the world. Learn all you can. The most advanced in the world, is it? It was fortunate that your very first trial was a simple affair. Simple? That was simple? As I believe I mentioned yesterday morning, it was a trial you couldn't lose. I don't mean to be contrary, Lord Strongheart, but the case was anything but simple. Except for one part near the end, I think. I did okay. The circumstances of the case were so incriminating that I was stunned when I first heard them. In fact, I'm still finding it hard to believe that we managed to get a favorable verdict. Is something funny? No, my apologies. However, the fact is that you did receive the not guilty verdict you set out to achieve. And that can only be attributed to exceptional talent, wouldn't you agree? Well, I don't know about that. Well, never mind. You exceeded my expectations, I freely admit. That much, at least, is an undeniable truth. Which is precisely why I have prepared a new case for you that I mentioned before. What's going on? What was he going to say before? Yeah, a new case. Could you perhaps give us more details about the new case you mentioned? Don't tell me it's a murder and the trial starts in 10 minutes. Maybe we could investigate the crime scene and then do a trial. That'd be nice. Don't worry. It's nothing so alarming or quite so urgent as your last assignment. In fact, this case is completely different. Oh, I see. Did he just read my mind? That is to say, no one has died as yet. Oh, cool. And the trial will not be today. There's plenty of time to research the case thoroughly. 23 hours, 43 minutes, and 19 seconds to be precise. Well, that's nice. Huh. The trial's tomorrow then. No. Is everything alright? Oh yeah. I'm just a little confused, that's all. Yesterday's trial was... well, it's left me wondering if I'm really cut out for being a lawyer. Oh, Mr. Naruto. I don't know if I could face standing in the courtroom after McGilted's trial. Ah yes, I nearly forgot. There is one similarity with yesterday's case. Murder. Once again, there's currently no one to advocate for the defense. Oh. If the situation remains unchanged, the trial will start tomorrow with the defendant unrepresented. And if that happens, I need not remind you of the inevitable outcome. The most terrible end awaits for the defendant. Yes, that's right. Ah, here we go again. Your time is up. You'll have to excuse me. I would advise you to begin making preparations for tomorrow's trial. After all, the clock is ever ticking. There is now but 23 hours, 26 minutes, and 39 seconds until the court sits. Last time he mentioned the 23 hours, he said there was plenty of time. And one more thing, Mr. Naruhodo. There is something I would like to ask you. Oh, what's that? Yesterday, you remarked upon something. That you intend to see through the will of your late compatriot, Mr. Asogi. Huh? I would be interested to hear what exactly you mean by that. Inside 34 seconds. Oh well, Kazuma always used to say, you see, that he wanted to learn how the greatest jury system in the world worked so he could change our plan, or change ours in Japan. And now that he's gone, I'd like to work towards that myself. And there's another thing. Oh. Another thing. Continue. On the way here, the steamship, he said something to me. There's something very important that I have to do. Something very important. And what exactly would that be? He never got a chance to tell me. I suppose he would have done if he'd made it to Great Britain. You're out of time. Well, thank you for an enlightening discussion. Mr. Naruto, what's all this about? Mr. Sogi never once mentioned anything of the sort to me. I urge you both to focus your attentions on the matter at hand. I've taken the liberty of summoning the police inspector in charge of the case. He'll be able to appraise you of the details. How long has he been there? So I wish you the best of luck and bid you farewell. There's something very important that I have to do. Kazuma-sama, what do you mean? I wish I knew. Honestly, he never told me. Anyway, we had better talk to the detective, don't you think? Yes, you're right. I hope I'm just imagining it, but I wouldn't say he looks pleased to see us at all. Let's see what he's got in his hand. Could we trouble you? What do you think? Lovely weather, isn't it? What's the weather got to do with anything? Listen to me, you young Japanese upstart. Some frippery about the weather doesn't get every English gent eaten out of your hand, you know? But Sasato's-san told me it was foolproof. I'm a busy man. A very busy man. There's a crime scene to investigate, but I'm here having to give the likes of you a talking to. Oh, I'm ever so sorry. Can you imagine what the other officers there will be saying, Haven't you seen Gregson anywhere, have you? Nah, he's too busy with the bigwigs these days. All because some bumpkin who's here on the chart from a country I never even heard of. Hear that ripping sound? That's my reputation at the yard going to tatters. There's no need to rip us apart as well. I don't believe we've been introduced. This is Mr. Ryunosuke Naruhodo, a defense lawyer. Eh? It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance. I'm Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant, Sus. Eh? It's lovely weather we're having today, isn't it? It's unseasonably fine, I grant you. London winters don't see a lot of sunshine. Unbelievable! How did you pull that off? Lord Strongheart has asked me to fill you in on the case. The name's Tobias Gregson. Inspector Gregson to you. I'm from Scotland Yard. Gregson? Gregson? Inspector Gregson? What's the matter with Sasato-san? Does this detective's name mean something to her? I have no idea how to voice him. I'll wing it until I get it. Inspector, are you perhaps the Inspector Gregson? You're acting like you know this man, Mrs. Sato, but he's a London detective. Oh, I do know him very well, in fact. Very well? Yes, he features prominently in the adventures of Sherlock Holmes. Oh, in that publication. What's it called? The Rants magazine? That's right. Inspector Gregson and Mr. Sholmes enjoy a wonderful friendly rivalry. Really? You rival the great Mr. Sholmes? That's incredible. Oh, well, I don't know about that. Mr. Sholmes isn't a professional like myself, of course, but he does come up with the goods from time to time. Mr. Sholmes is equally complimentary about you, Inspector, isn't he? You've earned his highest praise. Gregson is the pick of the bad lot of all the Scotland Yarders. Those were his own words. That's his highest praise? Well, Mr. Sholmes isn't particularly known for giving compliments, you see. That is not. Thanks to that magazine, my name's known all over London town now. That's great, isn't it? I have to admit that, to start with, I was a little well flattered by all the attention. Everyone wanted to shake my hand, and my reputation at the yard went through the roof. Well, that's wonderful. No, it's not. There's nothing more sinister than the man on the street. People are always looking at me now. They're whispering rumors about me underneath their breath, I'm sure. Rumors? Are you quite sure? He's changed since he started appearing in those stories. The fame's gone to his head, stuff like that. Gosh, do you really think people are saying such mean-spirited things about you? Like I said, they whisper, so I can't exactly catch what they're saying, but I know what folk are like. I'm sure that's what they're saying. Sure as eggs is eggs. Get a feeling that a detective could be very hard work. Oh dear, perhaps the sudden rise to fame does change people. So, about the case that the Lord Chief Justice mentioned before. Nothing to tell, really. As far as we're concerned, at the yard, it couldn't be simpler. Oh dear, that probably means that as far as we're concerned as lawyers, it couldn't be more complicated. I wish you were wrong about that, but I have a nasty feeling you're right. A young woman was walking around the pavement on Briar Road when she was stabbed from behind. Fortunately, it wasn't fatal, but she still laid up in the hospital unconscious. That's despicable. What sort of coward would attack a poor woman from behind? Suppose you would have finished whoever it was off with a Sasado takedown, would you? That was neither here nor there, Mr. Naruto. Brace yourself, Ryunosuke. You've angered her now. Anyway, after something of a whirlwind investigation, the criminal was arrested. He barely had time for a cup of tea after the incident took place, to be honest. So there must have been something left at the scene that led you directly to the culprit. Or perhaps a reliable witness who recognized the person in question. Let me stop you right there. You're wasting your time on this one. Sorry? There's nothing you can do. There's no way to help the bloke now. Why ever not? Simple. The prosecutor that's been assigned to the trial tomorrow is Lord Barak von Zakes. Oh! Sound like you heard of him then. Oh yes, we are very familiar with Lord Van Zakes. Believed to be the harbinger of death itself. The Reaper of the Bailey. Lord Baroque Van Zeeks, who we faced in court only yesterday. Mr. McGilda told us about him before the trial, didn't he? When Van Zeek stands for the prosecution, they call the accused his sacrificial lambs. And in every single trial in which he's been the prosecutor, the accused has been damned. Literally burnt to death. This Reaper of the Bailey nickname, I suppose he's earned that because every defendant he advocates against is found guilty. Is that it? Well, if that's the case, we should inform you, Inspector, that in yesterday's trial against Lord Van Zeeks, Mr. Naruto secured a verdict of not guilty. Heh. And what of it? Oh, well, I think it means that even against the Reaper of the Bailey, it's not impossible to save the defendant. No, you really don't have a clue, do you? What do you mean? What happened to the bloke in the end, eh? He's dead. Oh, Magnus McGilded came a cropper in that omnibus when it went up in flames. So you can't rightly say he saved the defendant, can you? What? What are you saying? If Van Zeeks can get the dirt to stick on everyone, he'd be a miracle worker. That's not how it goes. He doesn't work miracles, he works magic. Black magic. I'd have a good long think about that if I were you. Are we really supposed to believe that? Right, well, I filled you in as requested, and I'm very nearly out of chips. So I'll be heading back to the crime scene now. You're still carrying out a few investigations there. It was Briar Road, you said, didn't you? Where the incident took place? That's correct, ma'am. And if you head over to the holding cells, you can meet the criminal himself. You've branded him a criminal already? He's as good as shaking like a leaf in a cell, he is. He'll give you a chuckle if nothing else. He's inmate 53. Speak to the jailer and he'll show you the way. Inmate 53, thank you. Toodaloo. Oh. So there's no helping anyone against the Reaper of the Bailey, they say. Is something troubling you, Mr. Naruto? Yeah. I don't know how to voice him. To tell you the truth, when I recall the trial yesterday, I can't stop myself from shaking. The idea of facing the Reaper in court again is... Well, if you think it's too much for you, there's no shame in turning the case down. That takes courage, too. What if the man they've arrested is innocent? Oh! You could well imagine he would be shaking like a leaf in his cell. And I, for one, wouldn't find the sight of that funny. So, if I'm honest, I'm still reeling from the shock of yesterday's events myself. And I'm really not sure if I'll be able to help this man, whoever he is. But I'd like to try. I think I'm going to make some inquiries. Will you help? Did you really think you had to ask? After all, I'm your judicial assistant. Thank you. So then, shall we? Yes, let's go. Alright, I think I'll end the episode here, and we'll see who our client is next time. So, thanks for watching. Bye.